Welcome back to the world of cars, where history meets horsepower, whether it's on wheels or tracks. Today, we're stepping a bit off the road and into a piece of military engineering that's as rare as it is massive. This isn't just any armored vehicle, we're talking about the T-28 super heavy tank, one of the most ambitious, bizarre, and downright colossal tanks the United States ever built. Now, the T-28 wasn't just a tank, it was a rolling fortress. Originally designed during World War II, it was intended to break through the heavily fortified German Siegfried Line. The U.S. Army envisioned a machine that could laugh in the face of concrete bunkers and shrug off artillery shells like raindrops on a windshield. But like many bold wartime concepts, the T-28 ended up more of a what-if than a battlefield legend. Let's start with the basics. The T-28 was a 95-ton behemoth. That's right, 95 tons. To put that into perspective, a modern M1 Abrams main battle tank weighs around 70 tons. The T-28 was longer, wider, and lower than most tanks of its time, giving it a profile that looked more like a tank-destroying bulldozer than a traditional tank. It wasn't equipped with a rotating turret. Instead, it featured a fixed casemate design, housing a 105mm T5E1 gun. This was a serious piece of firepower, capable of blasting through reinforced positions with devastating accuracy. But the real eye-catcher, the T-28 had 4 tracks. Yep, you heard that right, 4 tracks, 2 on each side. The outer tracks could be removed for transport and were carried along with the tank itself. It gave the vehicle extra stability and weight distribution when rolling over rough terrain or soft ground, which was vital for such a heavy machine. However, that weight came with the priciest speed, or rather, the lack of it. The T-28 could only manage a top speed of about 8 miles per hour. That's about as fast as a decent jog. You weren't going to be doing any fast flanking maneuvers with this thing. It was built for one job: punch through enemy defenses, and it was going to do it slowly but surely. Production of the T-28 started in 1945, but by then, the war in Europe was already winding down. Only 2 prototypes were ever completed, and they never saw combat. With the fall of Nazi Germany and the realization that heavy tanks like this might not be practical for future conflicts, the project was quietly shelved. For years, the T-28 was something of a mystery. One of the prototypes was destroyed during testing, and the other was lost literally. For decades, nobody knew where it was. Then, in the 1970s, a team at Fort Belvoir in Virginia stumbled upon this forgotten giant rusting away in the woods. It was eventually moved to the National Armor and Cavalry Museum at Fort Moore, Georgia, where it remains today, drawing crowds of military history fans and tank enthusiasts from around the world. From a technical standpoint, the T-28 was impressive, if a bit over-engineered. It featured armor up to 12 inches thick at the front. That's thicker than the frontal armor on many modern tanks. Its engine was a gasoline-powered Ford GAF V8, pushing out around 500 horsepower, and not a lot for a vehicle of this size, but it got the job done. A broken bar eventually. One of the most interesting aspects of the T-28 is how it represents a turning point in tank design philosophy. During the war, engineers were focused on building heavier and heavier tanks to survive increasingly powerful weapons. But after the war, speed, mobility, and versatility became more important. The T-28 was a relic of a dying design trend, a last gasp of the super heavy tank era. But despite never seeing combat, the T-28 left its mark. It showed just how far engineers were willing to push the limits of battlefield technology. It forced military planners to ask important questions about logistics, mobility, and practicality. And it stands today as a monument to a time when bigger was better, and when brute force seemed like the answer to the world's toughest fortifications. You can't help but marvel at the sheer ambition behind it. The fact that the U.S. military even attempted to build something like the T-28 speaks volumes about the urgency and innovation of the World War II era. Every inch of it is a story of problem solving, of experimentation, and yes, of a little bit of madness. And for us gearheads, whether you're into tanks, trucks, or tuned-up turbo cars. There's something undeniably cool about the T-28. It's like the muscle car of the tank world, not practical, not fast, but brutally powerful and unapologetically bold. So, if you ever get the chance to see the T-28 in person, take it, stand next to it, soak it in, because you're looking at one of the rarest and most outrageous machines ever built, a one-of-a-kind chapter in the story of military vehicles, and a reminder that sometimes, the most fascinating rides never even make it to the battlefield. Thanks for watching The World of Cars, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the machines that shaped history. Whether it's a muscle car, a tank, or a forgotten prototype, if it's got wheels, we've got the story.